presentation, but meanwhile, I will simply run through some of the equipment and then go to discuss challenges. So for me, that is the main thing that I will need to talk about. Thank you very much for the introduction. Please, you can roll on the slide. As usual, I like to show you this so that we emphasize that Africa is not just one country, it's a country that has a continent that has many countries, and because it has many different countries have different laws. Some countries permit you to easily deploy a GNSS, for some, you have to get approval from the president of the country before you can install it. So that's to tell you the level of scientific advancement varies from one country to another in Africa. Some you can just stroll in with a magnetometer. So when you stroll into that country with a magnetometer, you may not come out of jail for the rest of the life. Yeah, next, just click on. So it's a beautiful continent with a very large landmass. And as we mentioned earlier on before, we have the broadest range of the magnetic equator over the land. Next slide, please. With respect to infrastructures, there have been many projects in time past that have led to densification of ionospheric monitors in Africa. And I will run through some of these, like I said, and without taking much time. I know we have seen some of these presentations, slides in some of the presentations that I've made in time past. And next slide, please. We have the AFREL project, we have the AMA project, which has to do with the monsoon. Then we have different national reference frames, which was built into the network was built into AFREL and was sustained by IDS. Then we have the IHY project. We have the African Array project, which was a project between a university in South Africa and Penn State University in the US, and were able to deploy a number of sensors over Africa that could be used to monitor the ionosphere. Then we have the ICTP Boston College Joint GNSS program as well. I will say a few things about some of these projects, and we have various scientific networks building and deploying a lot of equipment in different parts of Africa. What this has led to is the appreciable increase in the number of GNSS data points available for tech derivation, which we can now use for ionospheric and space weather studies. Next slide. And there are some other monitors apart from GNSS, and I think that slide also shows that we have from national space agencies in Africa that have started deploying equipment in different parts of Africa. Some have gone beyond their countries, like I will show very soon, especially the South African Space Agency. This slide is showing the IHY and ISWI projects that some of us are actually involved in from about 2004 when we were preparing for IHY. We've been negotiating and we've been deploying equipment. So when we metamorphose into, and up till now, we still have more equipment all over the places. Next slide, please. This slide is showing some, not all, of the equipment that were deployed. And for example, the single GPS system was the most popular of all the GNSS systems during that time. There were other GPS receivers that were deployed about that time. And ionosonde were deployed. I know, well, in Viper, ionosonde was deployed to Kenya about that time. And there are some other equipment that were reinstalled, like an ionosonde was reinstalled at the University of Ilorin during the IHY period. Then we have many magnetometers. I will show some of this. Next slide. On the ISWI webpage, you can find the array of equipment that were deployed during the ISWI projects. This is showcasing some of the CINDA ground stations that were installed in Africa and beyond during the period. It's not showing everything. For example, I know in Nigeria during CINDA project, during the IHY ISWI, we eventually got up to 10 installed in Nigeria. But most of these facilities you see are not functional anymore. But you can have historical data either from the PI or from connecting. If you connect with some of the hosts during the time, you may be able to have the facility, or you send some of us mails. We can also facilitate that. I serve as the African Regional Coordinator and of ESWI, and I was assisting one Professor Morris Portuguese. Morris is from South Africa. He was the IHY Regional Coordinator, and I worked with him during that time. Next slide, please. This has been emphasized. This is the story of IGS. I'm showcasing some of these web pages because you can get data relevant to Africa from some of those web pages, and this will be given to the PI of CONGA. That's why I picked some of the projects one by one, but I may not be able to go into details because I want to hit the nails on the end, towards the end. This is for the AFREP. I think you can, if you click, AFREP seek to create a unified geodetic reference system for different countries. If you check on the slide, you see that different countries have different reference frames, and their common boundaries, they will always be complex. So that with AFREP, they seek to create a unified geodetic system for Africa. And the data for AFREP GPS is available at afrepdata.org. You can get data for African countries there. Next slide. The ICTP Boston College relationship brought about deployment of many GPS systems across Africa, and not just the GNSS system, the capacity building around space weather studies, ionospheric disease was intensified, and we still continue to experience this. In 2009, the next edition of such a workshop is taking place in October at the Salam ICTP Trestle in October. Yeah. Over 1,000 African scientists have been trained at ICTP. That is, when you look at the number that reports every year, and then you multiply this over and over, and then the after effects, like the colloquium that we're having in Nigeria now, some of those facilities or knowledge are also being transmitted to some people that are not able to join the ICTP program. So it's a very good training model. Yeah, so the next slide, please. So there are some other reference frames, like this is for the reference frame for South Africa, and it's called the TreatMet Network. Aside this, there are other GPS receivers deployed by the South African National Space Agency, but this network is the largest in any country in Africa. It has about 67 base stations, and you can access the data on the web page that is given here. Next, and the data is free for that. This is for the Nigerian station, initially known as NigNet, now Teronet, and it's also available. The data is available at the web page, teronet.nignet.net. Next slide, please. Well, we'll try to put some GNSS receivers that were available at a particular time together, and that's what we got at that time. Next slide, please. There are some other ionospheric monitors. No, before previous slide. Yeah, there are some other ionospheric monitors. For example, this is showing the magnetometer network under the MAGDAS project led then by Professor Kiyomu Imoto of Kyushu University. There are 51 magnetometers deployed worldwide under this project, and 14 of them were deployed to Africa, both to study the equatorial processes, as you can see in the map, and to study the effect of SQ along the Eastern African sector, right from Fayoum in Egypt to Amanos in South Africa. Next slide, please. Like I said, the historical data is available online. If you send email to the PI on the page, it's mentioned on that page. You can send email to the present PI, and you'll get your data. You'll get the directive on how to access it. The same for this Amber magnetometer network. There are some facilities that were deployed that time. Yes, next slide, please. We have optical observations going on in Nigeria since 2015 with optical imager deployed by Professor Shiokawa, and then also some facilities were sent to Ghana in 2023. And I don't know, have they been installed? Yes, installed now. Yeah, so we have an imager installed in Ghana in 2023 as well. And Patrick Essen is in charge of the facility. Next slide, please. So this is the FPI interferometer. You can click again. We have this in Nigeria, in Ethiopia, Morocco, and Ivory Coast installed by different PIs. That of Nigeria, Ivory Coast, I think came from Kiambu, while that of Morocco and Ethiopia came through Dr. Makela. Next slide. South Africa, that of Ethiopia is from you? No, okay, you have your FBI. So South Africa too has an FBI. No, you have everything in South Africa. So, so this is the digital at the University of Ilorin. And though, like I said, the historical data is available because right now it's having some challenges. The equipment is still there. Next slide. Okay, this is a low-cost GNSS receiver. You can click again, which was put together in Nigeria. And we published the data. We published our results in ASR in 2021, and we've been able to distribute about 4 units of this within Nigeria. We work with our collaborators, but we actually put this together by our scientists in-house here in Nigeria. Next slide. And in May 2024, collaboration with Georgia State University, we set up a cosmic ray detector, which actually captured the 4-inch decrease during the G5 that we had, the mother of all storms in recent time. And yes, next slide. Well, the previous slide shows a laboratory that we maintain in Nigeria where we have assorted facilities, and then we try to coordinate the observations over Nigeria from this laboratory. Next slide, please. And then this is from the South African National Space Agency. If you join this colloquium tomorrow, you will hear more about this from John Bosco. And this is an agency that has gone beyond the country and depositing equipments or deploying equipment in different parts of Africa under the SANSA instrumentation in Africa. And you can see the map of countries where they have been able to deploy equipments. And of course, they also run the Space Weather Regional Forecasting Center since November 2022. So next slide. There are some other known research groups with multiple space weather monitoring facilities. The Space Environment Research Lab, Egypt, Japan University of Science and opportunities and privileges. Then we have the Space Weather Monitoring Center at L1 University in Egypt. These 2 facilities were actually founded by Hyman Maroons. And then we have at Baida University, they have multiple equipments. The University Felix Ofobet Boni at Abidjan, where we have the president, the incumbent president of AGS, leading the research activities there. We have multiple equipments. Then Kwani University, where we have a Wendell Joseph, they have multiple equipment, and also they were able to attract the Norris Observatory, which is also now in Kenya. And there are some other, next slide. There are some other groups, the previous slide, previous. There are some other groups that I may not be able to mention, and that's why I put ... here, so in case you don't hear the name of your institution, don't come after me. Next slide, so I think I'll skip this. We have various space research groups, and there are many countries now with R&D capacity in space weather in Africa, and the list continues to increase. The list continues to increase. Next slide. I'm just trying to get to the aspect that I'm actually interested in. So there are some new observations in Africa. This is a new ionospheric observatory in Malindi, Kenya, where an ionosphere has been installed for more than a year plus some few months now. And then as well as a GNSS receiver. And this was done by the Institute of National Geophysical Volcanologia of that's IGP, Italy, as well as the Italian Space Agency in collaboration with the Kenya Space Agency. And the good thing is that the data is freely available on the pages that are mentioned, listed here. Claudio Cesaroni and Joseph Owendo are the co-PIs of this project, and we can always reach out to them. But the data is freely available as well. Next slide. Then the planned one is the Virginia Tech Nigerian Bowen Equatorial Aeronomy, which we call the FITI Nigeria, which is going on at Bowen University. It's 90% completed right now, and hopefully in the next few months, that due to logistic reasons, it will soon be available, and it will be first of its kind in low latitudes. It's equivalent of Superdan in low latitude. Like I said, it's a project between Virginia Tech University, Bowen University, and the federal government of Nigeria. We hope that it will enhance research capability and that it will be a global ionospheric research infrastructure. The PI is Professor O.S. Bolaji. Next slide. Now, CONGA is where we are right now with full expectation. It's been said, the PI has rolled out a few things about CONGA, and we're expecting about 281 GNSS receivers under CONGA. And the beautiful thing is that it will be powered with solar-powered units. And about 28 countries have already been identified to benefit from this. And the PI is the one coordinating this. And this is the link with which you can join the project. I gave a link today at our colloquium, and about 10 new people joined for this meeting. Yes, next slide, please. And then we are also having this radar system, a meteor radar system. One has been sent to Ethiopia, and they are expecting the fullness. And the second one is coming to Nigeria. And this is a project between these two African countries and then the IAP of Germany. For one in Nigeria, the arrangement has been completed, and we hope that very soon, before this time next year, the data will be also available. We have Koki and as the PI of this project, and they will work with him. Next slide, please.
Prof.
I know time. So, benefits, you want to say something? I'm going to the hand now.
Yes, but the slides are not changing. Is it my own? Is everybody okay with the slides? I think it stops at CONGA.
It's on the benefits now.
Well, CONGA is the one I see too.
Yeah, we are seeing only CONGA slides. We need to follow you as you speak with your slides. Maybe you want to reshare. Maybe something went wrong or something.
Yes.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, could be.
Are you seeing now?
It's coming up. We are still seeing blank screen, but I think it's maybe the network is a little bit dragging. It's still coming up, not yet.
Sorry.
No problem.
Traffic.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Should we go back?
Yeah, thank you.
Go back to CONGA. Okay. So that's the CONGA, and
oh no. Okay, yeah.
That's the CONGA, right?
We are seeing IP, AIP radar. Aha, now we are seeing CONGA. All right.
Yeah, the moment I mentioned CONGA, there was a scintillation. So, beautiful thing is about the alternative power systems and then the number of the density that we're going to have, which makes it to be very great. And if we can get this done, we'll be able to solve many problems that have not been solved easily. Next slide, please. So this is the IAP radar system, the meteor that can scan up to 110 kilometers from the ground. And already there is a unit that has been deployed to Ethiopia. In Nigeria, yet to be deployed. And Koki of IAP, the German, is the PI of this project. And the other time I mentioned the cosmic ray detector, we're also interested in deploying 100 units of cosmic ray detectors across Africa. And I'll be sending papers to people on this, but we're developing an advanced material on this. I'll be sending a message out to many people to join in the project. So these are the benefits of having this equipment in Africa. They are not, it's not exhaustive. We have data availability, model validation. And like that is already going on with some model validation and development of some models by African scientists, knowledge and technological transfer. Then there will be host provider positive collaboration. When you send equipment to Africa, you'll be able to collaborate with the scientists that are hosting this facility. Then there will be availability of teaching and research facilities for internationally competitive research. People will be able to do research that is recognized and publishable in highly rated journals with high impact factors. Then there will be opportunities for postgraduate training. They will be able to control brain drain and have what we call brain gain. The idea when people run away from their countries because of lack of facilities. Then there will be huge capacity building, and then you will be able to make more African scientists to become famous, like Gopi, Don Bosco. You know, like Gopi is very famous in Africa. Don Bosco is he's a famous name in our midst as well. Then there are some challenges, really. You cannot run away from these challenges. One, lack of basic supporting infrastructure in African countries. Many African countries, only few have the infrastructure that you need for a such purpose. You can have the infrastructure for some other purposes, but when it comes to scientific research, there are problems. One is epileptic power supply. The power is not regular. Then poor internet connectivity. Poor internet connectivity. Then security of the facility. Because you have many cases of theft, vandalization of equipment, when you leave this, then the lack of trust. Then trust. You trust in the people you give equipment to. And then diversity of the country. Okay. If somebody is okay. So the custom, if somebody is creating echo, so there's custom clearance when you bring equipment. Some equipment are being trapped in custom offices across Africa. I'm aware of a Callisto that is being trapped in Kenya for almost 5-6 years now. You know, so and then we have some of these problems, and you get equipment donated free of charge from developing countries. Then your country will say you must pay for it before it's declared, it's delivered. Security clearance, and well, there's a mistake there. Lack of this may lead to data restriction. Security clearance is different from custom clearance. You may bring that equipment in, but the national security of some African countries will classify the data from those equipment as a security matter, like GNSS, magnetometer. When we want to deploy magnetometer mangas in Nigeria at Abuja, I have to respond to a memo from the national security advisor to the president. And I have to put my life at risk, you know, because I have to declare that it should not jeopardize the security of Nigeria. And they say, what if that happens? Then you have to stand. So, how many people will be ready to do that? So security, that's why some African countries have DNSS receivers. They will collect from you and you will never see your data. Then political will, then non-interest in science. In some African countries, the interest in science is not there. So all of these are the challenges that we face. And next slide. So these are some solutions that we've tried. Some have worked, some have never worked. Capacity building. Yes, like CONGA wants to distribute DNSS receivers. For what purpose? You give some people, they don't know what is meant for. So, I mean, they don't know what is to be used for. So we need to continue with the capacity building, like we run the security programs, workshop, we enlighten people. Provision of basic infrastructures. CONGA is coming with solar power systems. Good. We have to think of the Wi-Fi, the internet connectivity, some other things. Then character check via trusted allies. Some people have problem with this. But some people have made bad names. When you give them equipment, you don't get anything out of it. So there is that need to always check. Any collaborator with any African person, you can check. There are many people that are known in Africa or outside Africa that have worked with some people before. They can always tell you about some people. Nobody is new, nobody is an island. So if you do this, you can at least knock out the aspect of trust. You can say, yeah, I'm sure I can get data when I give equipment to this person. I'm sure we can have good collaboration. Then awareness, special enlightening outreach, and education program targeting the ruling class and policymakers by African nationals are very important. We need to explain to our nationals, our lawmakers, our policymakers, our heads of institutions about the importance of our research. For example, when I tell people about space weather, I tell people if there is problem with space weather, you will not be able to withdraw money using your credit card. And then somebody will adjust the card and listen to me very well. But when you just talk to them about routine, text, scintillations, they don't understand what we're talking about. So memorandum of understanding also with institution, because the equipment you bring in is not just meant for one person. You give an African professor a DNSS receiver, when he's retired, he goes home with it and give his boys at home to be playing with it. Or you lock it up and refuse to open the door, and nobody dare open his door behind him after 5 years. So we've had all these stories in Africa. But when you make someone to do a memorandum of understanding, you know, it goes beyond him. The training you want to provide goes beyond his family members. It means that you have to provide the necessary people, you have to train master students, PhD students outside his clan. So it's an institutional affair. And then you can do that even with an individual that, okay, you need to just sign an agreement. And what I encourage instrument donors to do is when you are giving me an equipment, we'll make it clear that this is a long-term donation to you. It's not a final dash to you. And this is what happens when our equipments have problems. We ship them back to the countries, like the Magda's units that are bad, they'll be shipped back to Japan for maintenance. And at times they come back new, like our optical imager, we got a new set of facilities. Then at times we do letter of declaration. I think that's the last thing. And this letter of declaration, this is the typical letter of declaration I just did for the cosmic ray detector. And where I declare under with the letter-headed paper, and the equipment was brought in by hand. The same thing we do when the equipment is to be shipped. And I decided to put this on the slide so that some people can have it. That I declare that the scientific equipment being sent to, now in that case I said being and carrying, I mentioned the name of the professor and his institution, is meant for joint experimental program and has no commercial value in Nigeria. It's not coming to do business in Nigeria. And it is a property of, in this case, Georgia State University. It's not our property. And shall be hosted at the name of our institution as a long-term note. Then I wrote the paragraph to introduce the institution that I work with. Then I signed. And the professor told me when they were discovering him at customs, he showed them the letter and they asked him to leave. Well, he was fortunate. I think even when you show them some of these things in some African countries, they will not listen to you. But it works at times. So, and well, I think I know the Shigo will wonder why I'm showing this again. You can show click more. This picture was taken in 2008, and you can see names of some people. Why are you showing it? Of some people that are on this meeting, also in that picture.
Oh my God. Is that really me there, or it's an image of me?
Really you. It's really you. Shigo with me. And
This was fantastic.
I don't believe it's you, Shigo.
And this was at Enugu in Nigeria in 2003.
Now you believe me when I say I've been to Nigeria before, you see?
So, thank you very much. You can just stop at that. Yeah, I'm true.
Yeah, Prof. Wow. This is powerful. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. And fortunately, we have a lot of decision makers, we have a lot of PIs online who are listening, who may want to deploy their instrument. They know what to do, they know how to go about it. This is great. Thank you, Professor. I know that you have all these stuffs. That's why I know, we have been working together for like 14 years, and you have been in this business for more than over 20, 30 years. So you are the best person to give us an overview in such a wonderful manner. Thank you, Prof. Do we have any question for Professor Rabiu? Questions? You have question? I think this is good because you actually explain the opportunities, you explain the challenges, and you explain the solution to all of those challenges that somebody might encounter in the intention of deploying specific instruments. We have the director or deputy director of IGS here, and Leo. Leo was we were colleague at JPL, and he's now the director of or deputy director of IGS. Maybe he wants to say one or two things about how you can get your data to IGS, or when you have this GPS, GNSS receiver lying down somewhere, and you are looking for a way to make your data public. Why you need to make your data public? Why do you need to make your data public? If you are getting a research fund for that instrument and you want to, get more research fund, you need to point to what your instrument has done over the years. So if you put your data in a public place, people will use it. Scientists will use your data, and then you can point to that science paper and say, okay, this what this instrument has done over the years. So you can able to have more chance of winning that award. So I don't know, Dr. Leo, are you here? Can you say one or two things?
Yes, I am here. Thank you very much for the introduction. As Olu said, I am still at JPL, holding two roles. I am a research scientist in using GNSS for atmospheric science, and also the deputy director for the IGS Central Bureau. We're very interested in this effort, of course. I'm posting a link to the IGS network, a nice live map on the chat here. And as you can see, and as most of you probably know, we are lacking a lot of station density on the African continent. And this is the topic of a lot of capacity development for our infrastructure committee. We recently nominated and brought in to the governing board Fernand Ballet from Côte d'Ivoire as a first point of contact that will help us coordinate more efficiently with stakeholders in Africa. But in more practical terms, if you have a station or plan to install a station, we have very clear guidelines available for how to make the station up to IGS's standard. So what I'm gonna post in the chat, give you just a moment to find the correct link. Data documents, guidelines here. And those guidelines for continuously operating stations, we've translated them in French, if that is any use. So you'll find the two links. I'm copying them in chat right now. Here. There. Oi, okay. Sorry, I missed one link merged with the rest. There we go. And in those guidelines, you will find also links to actually propose your site to be included in the IGS network. And from that point, it's simply a form online. And by that point, you'll be in contact with our infrastructure committee and network coordinator to finalize the data upload, essentially. So we're really trying on our end to make it easy and clear to contribute stations to the IGS. At the same time, we're trying to find points of contact on the African continent to participate in our governing board so that we can steer the decisions and the capacity development in the right directions. I've taken a lot of notes from Professor Rabiu presentation. I'll be relaying that to the rest of the Central Bureau, and we'll see. We might, Professor Rabiu, contact you with more questions later. That is the short overview. I'm open to questions, of course. I'm happy to be the point of contact. I'm also going to put the email address for the Central Bureau in the chat. If you have any questions at all, this email address goes to 4 people. Essentially myself, Alison Craddock, the director of the Central Bureau, our network coordinator, and our IT coordinator as well. So this is a short mailing list. Do not be afraid of sending something. You're not sending to the entire governing board. You're just sending it to us who are doing the coordination. So yeah, I could leave it at that, but of course I'm available for the rest of this meeting and later by email.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Leo. Thank you so much. Do we have questions for Professor Rabiu and Dr. Leo? Professor, just one.
Good evening.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Do I have the floor?
Yes, please.
Oh, good evening. It's a privilege being here. I'm Adebayo Shegun from Nigeria. I want to submit that I really enjoyed Professor Rabiu's submission on GNSS, even though I joined the meeting very late. I think I met Professor Rabiu 1 or 2 times here in Lautech. And I'm glad I could see Professor Danish, if I'm not mistaken, from University of Tokyo. I was privileged to work with Dr. Anibia Bose in University of Bodwan at GNSS Laboratory as postdoctoral student. And I was privileged to listen to some of Professor Danish workshop, so to say. It's a privilege being here. Some of the challenges we are facing in Africa, particularly at low latitude, has been comprehensively expatiated by Professor Rabiu. We'll be glad if some of these challenges can be addressed so that we can have enough equipment here to work. I was really exposed to so many applications of GNSS during my postdoc to the level of smart agriculture. But on getting back home, I could not do much because the facilities were not really there. I could only work with low-cost receiver, so to say. And I would be glad if Professor Rabiu can create a platform within the country where some of us that actually have interest in this area can have an internal collaboration and see the way we can enhance our capacity in this particular area. I was privileged to attend a workshop too, interesting. I think that was in October 2022 on African capacity building. Professor Rabiu has been doing a lot. He might not really know me, but I know he has been doing a lot. So we appreciate if some of this effort can be complemented through deployment of receivers. Some of us are ready to work. I can assure you we are ready to work. Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure being on this platform.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Adebayo. Thank you so much for your comments. And we know this platform has been collecting information about what the receiver, GNSS receiver that are to be deployed in various countries over the African equatorial and low latitude region of Africa. And we have had a lot of suggestions about what they want to use these receivers for. I can even share my screen I think I was working on this different kind of proposed objectives people want to use this for. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
So,
I can.
as you mentioned, that specific thing that you want to use it, but it's not really what you can do right now. And that reminds me of this list that I'm trying to compile. The ones that are highlighted in yellow are those ones that are very difficult to accomplish right now. But when we deploy most of these instruments, this kind of study can actually be carried out. So this is a good opportunity to actually talk and discuss about some of these instruments and how people can collaborate. We have 9 minutes here with our time. We have 1 hour on this program. So if you have one question or the other, you still have few time to talk about it. And before we call it a day from our hand.
So, this is Dinesh. I just want to give one information. So I'm Dinesh from the University of Tokyo. During my talk, I mentioned that I will provide or share the data from Tokyo to the NTRIP. So it took some time, but of course it's always maintenance and all. But now I can share the data, and we have this low-cost receiver, uBlocks F9P, L1, L2, or L1, L5, and also Mosaic, the Septentrio, and also NETA9 and Mosaic Polar RX5, and some other receivers. So if you would like to access the data via NTRIP, you can do it now. Now means I will send the information to you, to the mailing point of contact of this group, to maybe Zona, and then please distribute this information, and then please send me a request. Then I will send you the NTRIP address and user ID and the password. Then you can access the data in real time, and you can save it, the raw data, and process whatever you want to do. And the data are logged with the same antenna and using a splitter, and there are multiple receivers. So you can access at least 4 different type of receivers, same antenna. So you can compare your data from the high-end receiver and the low-cost receiver. I think this will be a very nice data for the research or doing some data analysis for space weather. And we already did this type of analysis several months back, and some other members, they processed the data and we had very nice data. And those results will be published as well, so we can share those things. So anyway, I will send you the entry access, how to access, and with some user manual or some document. So that's one thing. And if you can share your data, I don't know whether it is allowed to share the data outside of country or not. Also, I can give you the Ntrip site so that you can upload to our Ntrip server. So that's also another possibility. But at least you can access our data from Tokyo. But Tokyo data, I don't know how good is for ionospheric. But we also have some stations in other Asian countries like Indonesia or Thailand and Philippines. At least the Thailand data you can share because this is also connected to IGS station. So I can give you the name of the IGS station from Thailand. That's at the University of Chulalongkorn. I think it's Chula something like that. So that data you can get it, but that is a 30-second interval data. I think the IGS is standard. So at least Thailand data you can get it. And Indonesia, I don't know whether they allow or not, but anyway, I can ask them. Indonesia or Philippines, yeah. So we have data from several other countries, but outside of Japan, so also I can't share directly or without their permission, but at least for Japan, you can. And also maybe some data from Nepal, you can get it as well. So at least 2 countries you can get. So this is the information I would like to give.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's exciting.
So I will send the entry. I will send the contact address to Zona and share some information. So please circulate this to all the members in this group, and if they would like to, so they can access.
Of course.
And also, I can provide some software, but this is not for ionospheric because I'm not the expert on on the ionospheric software. I mean the data analysis. So we do the high accuracy or other authentication or spoofing part. Those type of things are my main work. So, but anyway, we can share whatever we have.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Danish. Dr. Danish has been on this platform before. We invited him to give a talk, and it was wonderful talk. And after that, I've also attended some of his talk he gave all over the world. And I'm excited, and I think we should invite you again, Dr. Danish, to come and give us some updates. I think you are doing fantastic on all these low-cost receiver, and your expertise will help build a better instrument over Africa region. And so when you share your thoughts, people can learn and be able to even do more better stuff over the continent. So thank you so much, Danish. We so much appreciate, and thank you for sharing.
And also we have this special working group in the IAG, International Association of Geodesy, focusing the low cost for space weather applications. And maybe we'll be looking for papers or some research outputs or the projects going on to be published in the IAG as well. I think I need to send you, I also need to send you the information about that new working group. And so it's under me and the Bruno, who gave the lecture last time. So he was co-chair. So we are working together as well.
Excellent. So yeah, thank you. Any other question or thoughts or comments? Professor Rabiu, thank you very much. And we are almost at top of the hour. We usually want to keep to our time on this program. We know people are busy, so we respect their time. And if there is no any other comment, I think we will end the program from here, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olu.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jonah.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Olu, I've posted in the chat some summary of recommendations if you want to keep them on or include them in your introductory slides.
Okay.
So there's two things. You can contact the Central Bureau if you want to be involved in the efforts of capacity development, but you can also, every country can, or every station operator can submit the data for the station to the IGS. And there's two separate steps that I hope are simple and clear, as clear as possible. But yeah, in any case, you can always contact us at CE and or the network coordinator. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Leo. Thank you so much. This is very, very helpful. And I will relate to this more. I will emphasize this more during the coming meetings so that people can actually get information. Because in this meeting, we have many people coming in and out. So it's not always fixed people. So, we need to continue to relate more or less the same information at every meeting. So
yeah, it makes sense. And I'll try to attend as often as I can to be a point of contact for IGS.
okay.
Because of course you're trying to install stations, having them on the IGS network would just maximize, because people just often look at the IGS network. So essentially trying to address one of the few points that were talked about earlier, which was, or what do we get from installing a station? And you could always say, okay, we've contributed to the IGS network, and that's valuable in the GNSS community, as you know.
So that even gives me some curiosity. Maybe we could invite you. We already have a speaker for next month. Maybe the upper month you could come and then show us some good stuff about IGS and other things you are working on.
Yeah. I'd be happy to. Yeah.
Thank
Let's
you.
do that. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Regards to other colleagues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll jump off.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
For coordinating.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.